Margaret Ekpo only got into politics because her husband, a doctor, wasn't allowed to attend a meeting about his own colleagues' mistreatment. She went in his place. By the end of her life, she'd been arrested for a protest speech, stormed a prison to force an autopsy the colonial government didn't want performed, and spent years detained during a civil war for refusing to abandon the idea of a united Nigeria. This is her full story. Margaret Ekpo was born July 27, 1914, in Creek Town, in what's now Cross River State. Through her mother, she belonged to the royal family of King Io Honesty II. Her father died in 1934, ending her hopes of attending teacher training college. She worked instead as a pupil teacher in elementary schools, and in 1938 married Dr. John Udo Ekpo, a physician. The couple settled in Abia. In 1945, Ekpo's husband grew frustrated with how colonial administrators treated Nigerian doctors, but as a civil servant, he wasn't permitted to attend meetings organized to discuss it. Margaret went in his place. She was the only woman at the political rally that followed, where she heard speeches from Herbert Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and Bonu Ojake. It was enough to pull her directly into the nationalist movement. Ekpo began working to bring more women into the ABA Market Women Association. In 1946, she traveled to Dublin to study domestic science, and on her return opened the Windsor Domestic Science Institute in ABA, training women in bookkeeping, dressmaking, and home economics. The institute became something more than a trade school. It gave her a direct line to the women of ABA, and a way to build political awareness among them alongside the practical training. In November 1949, colonial officials shot and killed striking coal miners at the Iva Valley Colliery in Enugu. Ekpo joined Funmilayo Ransom Kuti in declaring a day of national mourning, drawing attention to the killings both inside Nigeria and abroad. Ekpo's own speech at the memorial got her arrested and threatened with deportation. The women of ABA responded by threatening to burn the town down if she wasn't released. She was. In 1951, Ekpo became the first woman vice president of the NCNC's Eastern Working Committee. In 1953, she was appointed a special member of the Eastern House of Assembly, and by 1954 she held a seat in the Eastern House of Chiefs as a chief in her own right, a position that had never before gone to a woman. That same year, she founded the ABA Township Women's Association, turning it into a genuine political pressure group. By 1955, women outnumbered men at the ballot box in a citywide election in ABA. In 1957, when Ekpo first signaled interest in running for the regional assembly, party leadership reportedly told her the elections were too crucial to risk on a woman candidate. She kept organizing anyway, and was appointed to the ABA Urban District Council's Caretaker Committee that same year. By 1959, her value to the party as an organizer was too obvious to keep sidelining. In 1960, she became president of the NCNC's Women's Wing after Flora Azikiwe stepped down to become First Lady. In 1961, she finally got the nomination, winning the ABA Urban North seat in the Eastern House of Assembly alongside Janet Mokalu, the first ABA woman ever elected to the position. As a legislator, Ekpo pushed for more women in the police force, a motion that passed. She pressed the Minister of Education on why married women were barred from teacher training colleges, raised the concerns of female farmers, and argued for more women on corporate boards. She was also the Eastern region's only female delegate at constitutional conferences in Lagos and London, one of the few women any region's leadership brought into those negotiations at all. In the early 1950s, a prison officer named Mrs. Unya was murdered by a colleague after rejecting his advances. Authorities tried to cover it up. Ekpo and the women of ABA stormed the Enugu Prisons Department, demanding to know where the body had been buried, and threatened to break down the gates when they were initially refused. They got in. The body was exhumed, an autopsy carried out, and the truth exposed. The warder responsible was executed. During the Nigeria-Biafra Civil War, Ekpo's insistence on a united Nigeria, and her advocacy for carving Calabar and Ogoja out as separate states from the eastern region put her at odds with Biafran authorities. She was detained for an extended period under harsh conditions, growing seriously ill from inadequate feeding. She came through it unbowed, and by every account, without bitterness. In her later years, Ekpo lived on a modest state pension, supported in part by President Olusegun Obasanjo and his wife, Stella. In 2001, Calabar's airport was renamed in her honor. She died on September 21, 2006, at 92, remembered as proof that Nigerian women's politics didn't have to stop at ethnic lines, since it was Ekpo herself who crossed into the Yoruba Southwest to learn organizing directly from Funmilayo Ransom Kuti. That trip to learn from Ransom Kuti wasn't a one-off. Ransom Kuti mentored more than one woman who crossed regional lines to learn from her, and one of them went much further north, into territory neither Ekpo nor Ransom Kuti ever had to organize in themselves, a region where the emirate structure treated women's political involvement as a direct threat. She was imprisoned 16 times for it. Next time, we cover Gambo Sawaba.